Coming up on All About Android, it's just the three of us. It's Jason Howell, Ron Richards, and Florence Ion. We talk about Android as seismometers. We talk about Android 11 on Android TV, sort of. We talk about the Pixel hardware event. We have the details on the devices that you're going to hear about next week. We also have details about the OnePlus 8T hardware event that's coming up next month. Sony Xperia 5 Mark II has been announced. Xbox One games streaming to your Android device, your emails, and a voicemail, and so much more next on All About Android. All About Android is brought to you from LastPass Studios. You're focused on security, but are your employees? Well, LastPass can ensure that they are by making access and authentication seamless, whether employees are working in the office or remotely. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Mint Mobile. Get your new unlimited wireless plan for just $30 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free. Go to mintmobile.com/Android. And by LastPass. Let LastPass improve your employees' experience while safeguarding your business from cyber threats. LastPass is the #1 password manager. Visit lastpass.com/twit to find out how they can help you. And by Legalzoom. Don't let legal questions hold you back. Legalzoom is dedicated to helping you with the right solutions. Visit LegalZoom.com today to take care of the important things you need to get done. Hello, welcome to All About Android, episode 491, recorded on Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020, your weekly source for latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Florence Ion. Hello.
With flowers.
With flowers?
Yes, my little baby picked them for me.
Oh.
She grabbed on and she wouldn't let go, and so we're just going to take that as flowers that she wanted to pick for me.
Oh, flowers for Mama. That's great.
Yes.
That's amazing. I love it. Thank you for bringing them to the show. And Ron brought to the show, well, the pre-show anyways, a very fun site.
Yeah, he did.
We had a fun. You gotta come watch the show live if you're listening or watching afterwards. But before the show went on, there was a cool TechAid quiz at techaidquiz.com where we were guessing what technology was based off questionable illustrations. So it was pretty cool.
It was a lot of fun, and
it was
by a
website called Pluralsight, the ultimate tech aid quiz. So you can play along at home if you go to pluralsight.com. I think they have a link on their website as well to it for tech aid stuff. So, or maybe not.
It's in the pre-show, so you're probably not going to see it at this point, which is probably a good thing because it would just spoil it because we kind of go through the whole list at the very end. So you're just going to have to wade into those waters yourself.
They didn't get to join in on the fun, and that's
it's
the fun of the pre-show.
They didn't
come
get
to the
join
pre-show
into
next
that
time.
fun. Yeah, exactly. So, do it. twit.tv/live. You get to enjoy this fun, though, which is the show that you subscribe to. Before we get into the show that you subscribe to, just want to say today is a big day about registering to vote. It's kind of like the day that's named after voter registration. So vote.gov. Make sure you're registered to vote. Even if you're wondering if you are, maybe you aren't certain, it doesn't take that long to go and check. So go do it. It's important. It's always important, but it's very important right now. So do that. And your country thanks you. With that, Burke, I've given you some very interesting details to lead into the news.
He's still working on the quiz.
It's okay. It's okay. Look, the TriCaster's been through a lot today, okay? It's not Burke, it's the TriCaster. Let's see here. Maybe there was an earthquake in the TriCaster. I don't know.
Oh, God forbid. God forbid.
Yeah. Let's hope not. Android's earthquake alert feature that was announced not very long ago was put to the test last week. A 4.5 magnitude earthquake hit the Los Angeles area. And this feature, I feel like we've talked about it a little bit on the show. I can't remember how much we dove into the kind of the details of it, but essentially it's an opt-in feature. that you can turn on in settings, and it turns your device into like a crowdsourced kind of collective body of devices that can detect through the use of the accelerometer when there is shaking that resembles an earthquake. And when there's enough devices in a similar geographic location doing this, then it's actually it could actually save some time for getting some sort of a warning to users to say, hey, an earthquake's coming. Find a surface to hide underneath or whatever. So Android engineering VP and friend of the show, Dave Burke, tweeted a map of the area that shows how the devices lit up when they detected all of this. It's really kind of a cool map to watch. He says, here's the phone sensors acting as seismometers. Detected yellow and red concentric circles are expected locations of the P and the S waves as they kind of ripple out. So that's what you're seeing there. And I don't know, it's just kind of a neat test of the system, and neat that our phones can be part of this kind of data gathering and hopefully save some lives.
Yeah.
When you get that network effect of enough, like this is the idea of being able to funnel this information into the network of phones and be able to, it's kind of interesting,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
it's also just I feel like it's a good little primer to give us on how this is all working in the background. I mean, it's crappy that an earthquake happened because it is scary when you experience it. But it is what the Earth does. And so it was inevitable that we would be able to kind of use this feature. And it's just interesting that it happened so soon after, it went live, because it's such a great way, for lack of a better way to put it. It's such a great way to sort of test it and see what we've been putting into use here in the state of California for detecting earthquakes. So who knows when we're going to be experiencing it here in the Bay Area, huh?
I hope not anytime soon.
That went darker than I intended, but
It really did.
It's hard not to talk about earthquakes without being like, well,
when's our turn?
Look at the flowers.
When's it coming for
Look
us?
At the flowers.
Yeah, sorry. Flowers, yeah. They come from the earth. The earth that does not shake.
Change the tone. Look at the flowers instead. Now, I was a little confused reading the news on this, because the news had said, the articles, a few articles that I had read on this, said that the system was merely compiling data. It wasn't using the notification method to let people know. It was just like, here's what the phone's picked up, but we aren't necessarily sending out notifications to people yet. However, I put a call out on Twitter, and I heard from at least one person, Amar, who said, yes, I'm on a Note 8 Android 9, and I got the notification when it went off. I got an early 1-minute warning, is what Amar said. So
that's crazy.
That's interesting. And I tested it earlier, that you can go into the settings and test to see what it does. And the alarm that it sounds is really loud, and I think it bypasses your do not disturb settings and everything. So it makes it so that you can't ignore it. Let's say.
Is it like the emergency alert? When they, like, for instance, unfortunately bring this up, and when they do an Amber Alert.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not the same tone, but it's loud like that. You know what I mean? It's its own type of tone, though. And then the whole screen apparently switches to like this big red infographic that's just like, find a surface, hide under it right now.
Wow.
Tells you where it estimates the magnitude of the earthquake. It tells you its estimate there. So I don't know. It's a cool way to crowdsource all sorts of devices together for something very positive.
Yeah, I agree. It's cool, and it is really fascinating just to think about, somebody closer to the epicenter might feel it earlier than somebody, on the outside. Mm-hmm. I think that's how some earthquakes work. Regardless, I guess good to see it in use. Yep.
Indeed. On to something that we won't see in use for a while, Ron.
I know, but let's talk about a tease. So recently over on the Android developers blog over at Google, I got very excited because I saw that Android 11 for Android TV is here, which is very exciting. Introducing Android 11 on Android TV was the name of the blog post. And that was super exciting. And it's only kind of sort of now. Basically, it includes permissions, privacy features, and memory management from Android 11. It'll also provide support for low latency mode on certain TVs. It's got an expanded gamepad support, including the Nintendo Switch Pro controller and Steam controller. Also a silent boot mode for system updates, TV standby for an activity. No mentions at all of any UI changes at the moment. This whole update was actually more meant for developers, so it's way more under the hood than the front end side of it. And currently only one device is supported, the ADT3. And they tease that more devices are coming in the coming months. But good question, as we're on the eve, presumably on the eve of the, well, not presumably, we're on the eve of the announcement around Google's new rollout from the Pixel 5 all the way down to Google Chromecast. What does this mean for Google Chromecast with the Google TV device? Is it going to launch with Android 11? Who knows? We got to wait and see, but I like all this activity around Android TV. Jason, what do you think this makes of the impending Chromecast announcement?
I don't know, because I seem to remember there was that leak that said, oh yeah, the Sabrina device is going to come out and it's going to have Android 11 on it and it's going to look totally different, blah, blah, blah. And this really, unless Google's just kind of like taking us for a ride a week ahead of the announcement, this just feels like it won't launch with Android 11. So I'm not entirely sure what this means for the UI and for this device. Is this device then going to launch with Android 10 and still be called Android TV because it won't be rebranded? Or I don't know. I guess we won't know until next week when they actually officially announce it. But we do know the name of this device is going to be the Google Chromecast with Google TV. That makes me think that there's some sort of branding change shifting away from Android TV to Google TV, which would make me think that there would be a change to the UI in some capacity, but I don't know, maybe not.
I feel like they're due for a change. I mean, and I'm probably saying this out of several months now of using Android TV and being tired of the UI, but I do think it's due. But if it's not that point in time, then we just got to continue to wait. But I do think that it could use a refresh at this point. So
yeah. Well, I do too. And at the same time, I'm very curious to see the device that was supposedly going to be running Android 11. So nobody has the ADT3. Well, not nobody. Developers have the ADT3. It's a developer box. It's not a consumer product. It's not something you can go into a store and buy. So really, we're just waiting to find out more. But this is, early details, I suppose.
More coming. So that's always good to know that more is coming.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, of course. Most certainly. All right, Flo.
Okay, well, we've got some printing information, and this might sound...
Printgate. Printergate.
Isn't that exciting?
Now, listen, with Google Cloud Print going away, there is a little bit of freaking out, right? Because we want to create this productivity ecosystem around Android, or at least some manufacturers are trying. But how can you do that if you still can't print? Because paper is still part of the world. So we read an email from Victor last week about printing on Android and the new I pronounce this in my head. I didn't practice it out loud. The new Mopria. It's rolls off the tongue. The new Mopria Alliance, which is built into Android 11 and will sort of help that transition over from Cloud Print. Now, Mopria itself has pointed us to their blog post on how this is all going to work. It's going to work very similar to the Cloud Print beforehand, where you'd go to the Share To menu, and then you would find a little, little marker that lets you send it to the nearby Wi-Fi printer. You would then... excuse me. So I actually tried this earlier before we started recording. I found out that it was already installed on my Mi Box, which was odd. I didn't realize that it was on there, and I don't know why I'd want to print from it. And then I tried installing it on the OnePlus 8, whatever is in the Play Store right now. You can go to Play Store and try it out. It didn't work with my printer, so I couldn't get it to work. But Jason... I heard you were trying this out, so I'm wondering if you managed to get it working at all.
Well, so last week when we had the email, like I went through the process and looked for anything different, and I couldn't find it. But this week, so I'm going to take a screenshot, and then I'll share. And then There it is. That's the button, that little print button. I think that's the Mopria or Mopria or however you
It looks
pronounce
exactly like Cloud Print.
Yeah, exactly. It totally does. And that's my printer, and I could send that image, and now I'm wasting paper, but there we go. Yeah, so apparently it's embedded now. I don't know if that's changed over the last week or what, but I feel like I checked for that last week and it wasn't there, and now it is. But regardless, that's how it's going to move going forward. And they say that because they say that more printers support this than supported Google Cloud Print. Your printer seems to put that to the test. It sounds like.
I have a Brother Wi-Fi printer. It's a laser printer. It works fine with all the Windows PCs in the house, but I can never get any of the Android devices to print to it, or the Chromebook devices, which was also really frustrating because that's kind of a natural usage case where you want that to print. So totally. We'll see. I tried to add it manually just for what it's worth through that Mopria app that you can download in the Play Store. But I couldn't quite figure out the IP address for my printer. And then we had to record. So maybe I'll try and fix it later or something. Maybe there's something going on. So yeah,
you'll want it set up at some point anyway. So yep. Cool. All right. That's another thing to look forward to, I suppose, with Android 11. And if you don't have Android 11, I think you can install that app that you were talking about. What is it? The Mopria.
Yeah, I'm using a OnePlus
service.
8, and I'm still on Android 10. So.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Well, there you go. All right, let's take a break and thank the sponsor, and then we will get into some hardware news. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Mint Mobile. Breaking up with your old wireless provider just got a whole lot easier, thanks to Mint Mobile. They were the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, and now Mint Mobile is introducing their unlimited data plan for just $30 a month. And I mean, just think of like $30 a month, unlimited plan. They haven't had an unlimited plan before. Now it only costs $30 for you to do unlimited. It's pretty awesome. So you can compare that to your soon-to-be wireless provider to see what they're charging you for unlimited. And I mean, you're saving a lot. I know when I was on Verizon, I had an unlimited plan, and I feel like, and this was years ago even, I don't know what it is now, but years ago it was upwards of like 80, 90, something, somewhere around there, $100. I can't even remember at this point, but I know that it was too much. And so, $30. $30 is actually what I was paying on like the discount plan at T-Mobile, and that was definitely not unlimited anything. Really, they said it was unlimited, but you got to 5 gigs, and then they throttled you to all heck, and it didn't go any further. Essentially, even though they were still letting a little bit of data trickle out, it wasn't the same. Here, it's truly unlimited. You want to check it out. For most people, they hate their phone bill. They're ready to cut ties with the big wireless, and Mint Mobile offers their premium unlimited plan for just $30 a month to fill the gap there. By going online only and eliminating the traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile actually passes all that savings on to you. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. That's what I did. I ported my number over. If you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. So you can break up with big wireless and switch to Mint Mobile's premium unlimited data plan for $30 a month. To get your new unlimited wireless plan for $30 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Android. That's mintmobile.com/Android. Cut your unlimited wireless bill to $30 a month. mintmobile.com/Android. We thank them for their support. All right. It's time to talk about some interesting hardware announcements.
Man, I am getting all the juicy Google bits this week. Thank you, Jason, for doling out the stories. So as mentioned, we are, sneaking up on the Google series of announcements. And if you're checking your calendar, now is the right about time for leaked images and details. So there it is. Pixel 5 press images and details have leaked again, 1 week away from the event. They almost made it. So it looks as if, based on these leaks and spoilers, everybody, if you don't want to know, pause listening, tune back in a week after the event. But we know you want to know. So the leak specs are 6-inch 90 hertz display with a narrow bezel, aluminum housing, 1P68. 4080 milliamp battery, wireless charging in both directions. You always want both directions. And it includes a dual camera that's got a 16 megapixel wide angle at 107 degrees. And it's looking to be priced at 629 euros based on this information, which is approximately $736. And also press photos leaked for the Google Chromecast with Google TV dongle and the new Nest audio speaker in chalk and charcoal colors. So, Florence, tell me, are you excited for chalk or charcoal for your new Nest audio speaker?
I mean, I like chalk because it would match the Google Home Max. Excuse me, the Google Max. I forgot their names. Google Home Max.
It's okay.
Anyway,
Google for
it would
that.
match better with that, I think. But charcoal looks like it would last a little longer in a very dusty household. So if you don't like to dust.
Yeah, it probably depends on where you're putting them, right? Dark room, go with charcoal. Bright kitchen, although you probably don't want to put this in the kitchen because, the food's going to get up on that fabric.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do not put anything with fabric into the kitchen. If you would like something in the kitchen, I would suggest a Lenovo Smart Display, the ones that don't have cloth on them. So the first gen ones.
Smart. Yeah, the moisture, you just don't want in there. But all right. So moving up from the speaker, though, over on Twitter, Roland Quant posted talking about colors. When we're talking about colors, first we talked about the speakers, now the phones. Roland says the Pixel 4a 5G is going to be available for €499 in black and white. And the Pixel 5 will be in €629 in black and green. Which I don't think we've seen a Pixel in green before, have we?
Oh, not to my knowledge, not to my memory.
There's been a lot of clearly blue and the little orange button and things like that, but never green. So that's pretty cool. I don't know. And then also there's some. Yeah, how green? A nice English racing green would be good. I would do that. And then finally, we also got some images of the Chromecast with a revised remote. Which looks very sleek, very, very Apple-y, unfortunately. So
I don't think it looks
it's white. I just mean that it's white.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it's that Apple-y. Wow, by the way, the lighting in my room really changed as the sun went down. Jeez.
Okay, it's very colorful. It's making up for the stark white of this device that we're looking at.
Or the stark white of my pale skin.
So we don't have very long to wait for these devices to be announced. Literally, the announcement is next Wednesday, right? So we have next week's episode of All About Android, and then the following morning the announcements happen.
So should next week's episode, should we do our predictions?
It's going to be an easy prediction show. I think. I think we already know exactly what's happening, but we could do that. We could certainly take a look forward and say, oh, these things will happen. Because I think that's probably what's going to happen. But you never know. So here's one thing that I wondered is the announcement itself references time. And we've been hearing about a Google Watch, but like a Pixel Watch.
Oh, don't tease Florence. Do not tease her.
Maybe
with more Wear OS
news.
I don't think so. I think you're reaching a little bit.
I'm trying. I'm just trying to make things exciting.
Listen, the other thing is I've also kind of given up at this point. I'm just waiting for when we make a big to-do about this Fitbit Google acquisition. And I think because they're sort of waiting on that, they're still kind of fighting the courts overseas, that it's not really becoming this like marquee thing. So I kind of feel like that's, just on the back burner until that can get sorted.
Okay. All right.
Those are my predictions, my personal, based on my own information predictions.
Yep.
Well, I know I said last week that I like the fact that Google's new approach is just to tell us what's coming. But I will say when the mystery is gone, it's hard to get excited for it.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
it is
already
because it's like okay, it's totally the whole Christmas, present syndrome, right? If you go into the closet early on and you know what you're getting, it really does take the magic out of waiting for the clothes, Freudian slip, out of waiting for the presents to be opened on Christmas morning. So, at this point, we're just sort of waiting for what we already know, this is not the year to make us wait. This is 2020. We've already gone through so much.
Don't make us wait. True that. Well, who's not going to make you wait? It's Sony. Flo.
Well, maybe we're going to have to wait for them.
Maybe a little bit.
Okay, yeah. I'm skipping ahead. We might not have to wait for this one. So we don't talk a lot about Sony because Sony hasn't really been doing a lot in the smartphone game. But they do have a next flagship that's coming. It's the Xperia 5 Mark II. So this is a follow-up to the Xperia 1 Mark II from earlier this year. The display is changed to a 6.1-inch 1080p OLED with a 120 hertz refresh rate. This is, it used to be higher res before, but only 60 hertz. Now with kind of all the phones that are coming out with, up to 120 hertz, it kind of seems like the right time to launch this sort of device. Snapdragon 865 on the inside, 8 gigs of RAM powering it up, 128 gigs of storage, 4,000 milliamp battery, which should be the limit these days, a fingerprint sensor, micro SD slot, headphone jack, IP68, already looking pretty good in the specs race. 3 12 megapixel cameras on the back and an 8 megapixel camera on the front. This phone is coming to the US, though the 5G support seems only limited to Europe. I guess that's okay. I mean, 5G right now is still a buzzword.
Yeah.
Pre-orders begin September 29th, so that's in about a week for about $950. That's actually a little bit cheaper than the going rate for some of the quote-unquote entry-level spec Samsung devices. And I see a lot of focus on this is a heavy spec phone. Here's some pictures of it, in the sort of PlayStation ecosystem. Here's like this DualShock wannabe controller you can use with it. So this is shipping December 4th. And I do wonder if Sony's going to kind of really lean into that gaming first idea just because of some of the other news items that have been going around about, cloud gaming and that sort of thing. I don't know. What do you guys think? They've got it right there based on the promo photos.
Yeah, but they're certainly emphasizing it and playing up the connection to gaming and also this is a big gaming year for Sony. The PS5 is, pre-orders are taking place or have taken. I can't remember, but
they did it the day after the announcement or the day, there was some mix up too. They said it was going to go on some day and then Walmart did it a day earlier. But people have been. That's right. Yeah, the eBay price gouging has started also as well. So.
Oh, great. Joy. Yep. So, so I mean, I suppose it makes sense for them to tie into something that is incredibly successful for them, which is the PS5 and the gaming aspect of things. So
I didn't mention the Xperia Play. That's actually what we were looking at, that phone sort of DualShock combo situation. The Xperia Play 2 prototype slides out to reveal a gamepad controls and a trackpad. So that's kind of exciting. It has a left and right shoulder buttons. This is... Okay, for those watching the visual feed, we had 2 pictures. We had a promo picture of an Android phone with a DualShock-looking controller. That is the Xperia 5 II that I was alluding to earlier. Right. And then we have this prototype of a device that looks like it has a slide-out gamepad situation. A slide-out, slide-out shock, if you will, I guess.
I feel like situation is the right term for that.
Yeah, it's a situation. So I guess now the idea is this something that we could see as a viable thing to be, to put into the market? We see some of those ROG phones from Asus, and those have detachable gamepads. They're more on the phone side. This just looks to be a phone in game system combo. Just put it all in there for you.
Yeah, and with this device, I failed to put this in the notes. It's a canceled device. So this is basically the Xperia Play happened God, when was that? I mean, I know that we were at a Google I/O, I think, together, Ron, in San Francisco. So this must have been like 2012, 2013, somewhere around there.
That's a really long time ago.
Yeah. And so I think after that Xperia Play, this was like the follow-up that was never released. So this is kind of like a prototype from that era. So this is not something that's coming out now. But I am curious about this form factor and wondering if it would do better now, because it really was ahead of its time then. And I remember actually really wanting it because I thought, wow, that would be a lot of fun for like emulation or something, to just have like a controller. And I think I actually remember on the show mentioning, like, I think a lot of phones are going to go in this direction. This makes a lot of sense. And then, of course, that never happened. But maybe now's the time. Maybe Sony could come out with like an Xperia Play 2021 version, and maybe it would actually work this time around. I don't know. It was the
Kishi? The Kishi was a thing that you reviewed. I really like the implementation of that because it took a form factor that a lot of people are already familiar with, the Nintendo Switch, and it kind of emulated that, but with the specs of whatever phone it was that you would put in the middle of it, right? Because it was platform, or it was phone agnostic. It didn't matter what phone it went on. I feel like that is a better situation. I don't know. I feel like selling a phone that just does one thing, but I'm also saying this in an era when people are just buying folding phones because they can. So I'm out of opinions on this one.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you buy a folding phone if you could?
Yeah, exactly. If you had that money to sort of just shovel that way.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe our phones will like fold out into controllers, full size controllers, and
I believe Nokia tried that with the QWERTY keyboard back in the day, and it was actually quite popular. So,
okay,
yeah.
So let's and if no one's working on that, let's start a hardware manufacturer. Let's all of us just become an OEM.
All we need is a Kickstarter, and maybe have a GoFundMe that nobody really knows about, but that we can kick over to real investors who want to put forward something.
Oh, that's all we
charitable.
have to do?
Yeah, that's all we have to do.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Then it should be easy. Because one manufacturer that was able to pull this off was OnePlus, and apparently they have an event coming up. They've announced an event for October 14th. They've even said this event is for the OnePlus 8T, so there's no mystery that the OnePlus 8T is right around the corner, October 14th.
There's no mystery that it stops at nothing. It stops at nothing. Yeah. It stops at nothing.
Get it?
And it says, well, not just that, it's Ultra stops at nothing. What does that mean?
Stops at nothing.
Ultra.
That means that not even Border Patrol can keep the OnePlus devices from coming through.
Oh, it's a challenge.
Wow.
At this point.
Wow.
It has nothing to do with like Samsung's Ultra devices or anything. No. I don't.
You think it
know.
does?
No, I have no idea. I'm just trying to figure it out because like Ultra is not, in
I think
their
Ultra
product
is the new
names.
Uber. Ultra is the new, back in the 90s, it was super cool to say something was Uber. And I feel like Ultra is, I don't know why.
Oh, you're probably right. That's probably what they mean is like, yeah, this phone's got everything and it stops
Ultra.
at nothing. Rumors say it has actually MKBHD, friend of the show, but he hasn't been on in a while. So that's okay. You're always invited, Marquez. Got confirmation from OnePlus that the device will have 120 hertz display. I'm guessing going forward, because this seems to be how OnePlus does things, like they're just going to stick with 120 hertz displays. No curved edges. And then rumors are pointing to Snapdragon 865 Plus, 65 watts of charging as the charging standard. It's fast charging. And of course, the new Oxygen OS 11, which is kind of OnePlus's new kind of redo or redux based around Android 11, kind of going a little less vanilla, more stylized, let's say. 599 euros, which translated to US dollars is around $700. So still puts a device like this,
Ultra premium.
That's about the same cost as the Pixel 5, right? 736 converted Pixel 5 ish. So they're going to be in the same category, same price category.
Same category, but different
totally
audiences. Very different audiences.
And different internals. Like if you've got the OnePlus 8T coming out with OnePlus's reputation on updates and all that, and it's got, the better internals, the 865 Plus, versus the Pixel 5, which is going to have the ramp down. Is it the 765G, I think? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's interesting. I'll be curious to see which one wins out as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. Won't have to wait very long for that. That's right around the corner as well. We're like entering into the third and final wave of the tech NATO, the tech tornado that happens near the end of the year.
Tech NATO. I like that. That's the new term for this time of year.
Well,
and
I can't take credit for that. I think there's a Tech NATO podcast by one of our IT Pro TV, one of our sponsors. They do the Tech NATO show. So that is theirs, but it seemed like the right word for what we're talking about. So anyways, let's take a break. Thanks, sponsor. And then we'll get into some app news. And I actually have an app to show off today. So we'll get to that in a second. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by LastPass. LastPass surveyed 700 IT and security professionals across a range of industries, from financial services to IT to retail. 82% say their business has been exposed to a risk due to poor identity and access management. And thankfully, LastPass can actually help you manage identities and promote good security behaviors while your employees are remote. You want your employees to have secure password storage, and LastPass actually gives them their own vault for storing every app and every web login that they use. LastPass makes so much of this so easy and safe for employees to share logins while keeping access to corporate details safe. It's like you want both of those equally, and it's not very easy to do. LastPass makes it easy. Single sign-on manages employee access in a centralized view, so IT always has insight into who has access to what and from where. Enterprise password management ensures oversight of shadow IT and enforceable policies across all password-protected accounts. You've got multi-factor authentication, which requires additional factors to prove a user's identity by the use of biometrics and contextual factors that make the process smooth for employees, so it's not going to bog them down or slow them down. Employees always have their passwords with them, of course, and can gain access from anywhere, no matter where they're working, from any device. So working remotely, is convenient then. It's not frustrating. And you can rest easy knowing that your business is secure with LastPass using AES 256-bit encryption with PBKDF2 SHA-256 and salted hashes, ensuring complete security in the cloud. Your data is encrypted and decrypted at the device level, so the data in your vault is secret from everyone, including LastPass. We rely on LastPass at TWiT for managing our passwords, for sharing passwords between us as needed. I rely on LastPass on a personal level in our family to share passwords and keep us all protected. Just my password health is what it is because of LastPass. And mark your calendar for October 8th at 1 p.m. Pacific for a special online panel of security experts sponsored by LastPass with Leo Laporte, of course, Bruce Schneier, Father Robert Balaser, Brian Chi, and Gerald Buchelt. They'll discuss 5 common attack scenarios and the best practices to defend against them. And it's not going to be your typical panel discussion either, because the panelists will be divided into attackers and defenders, and each of them are going to be presenting their case. Really cool stuff. LastPass is the #1 password manager, and you can let LastPass securely manage your user's identity, letting your employees work efficiently without making your business vulnerable to cyber threats. Go to lastpass.com/twit and check it out for yourself. That's lastpass.com/twit. We thank LastPass for their support. All right, it's time for some apps.
Man, this is the year of playing big games on your small phone.
Yeah, no kidding. It really is.
I mean, relative to your TV, of course. So something people have been really talking about on Twitter this week, and it's only Tuesday. Microsoft Xbox One games are now streamable to Android devices. Yes, the commercials that you've been seeing, they're finally true. So the new Xbox app for Android includes a remote play feature. It streams direct from your Xbox One console, and unlike xCloud that streams from Microsoft's cloud, the app includes the ability to install games to the console, manage game library, free storage space, and use it as a remote control of the console. Now, there's no word on how this will work with the upcoming Xbox S and X. And as for xCloud and Xbox Game Pass, Microsoft confirmed that it won't be compatible with Android TV, but neither is Stadia. So some of those things could possibly change. Maybe it's just that those things aren't quite a priority just yet. I do see this being the crux of a lot of phone advertising this holiday season, though. And I'm very curious to see if truly the youths do catch on to this, because...
The youths.
Yeah, I mean, the mere idea of it is exciting, which is exactly why Stadia excited us in the first place. But the implementation has been a little meh. And I think it's because Stadia isn't known for the library the way an Xbox ecosystem is, or a PlayStation ecosystem is. So just some food for thought.
Isn't it weird that Stadia still isn't official on Android TV? Isn't that strange? I find that really strange.
I find that odd, but I also chalk that up to the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing, et cetera, and all that. And I guess it doesn't need Android TV to work, right? Because it's off of the phone.
Right, but
right.
I mean, it's a streaming gaming service. So many people are used to, using their consoles on their big screen, and Android TV would be the conduit for that. I find it odd that Google would be like, I don't know.
Is the device that Android TV is running on not enough to handle the processing?
Yeah.
No. Right. I mean, that's got to be it. Yeah, the GPU and all that stuff. I mean.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because I mean, this is just a video feed streaming.
Listen, the Mi Box can't even handle rendering some emulators, and I know that it's doing that technically like locally, and that's why it's having that problems. But if I can't even emulate an N64 game the way that I can on like a Raspberry Pi, I can't imagine doing that with Stadia and a high resolution game.
Well, but none of that's that's the thing, is none of that's happening on the device, right? Like Stadia, none of that game is running on your device. It's literally just streaming a video signal from Google's cloud. But
so it should be.
It still needs to be rendered. Like, just because YouTube is streaming doesn't mean that your computer isn't doing the rendering work to display it to you.
That's true. I guess where I get stuck on that, though, is like, what's the difference between streaming high-res video from a streaming service and streaming high-res video from Google's cloud servers for Stadia? Like, it's video just coming over the internet. Maybe there's something, with the coordination of the latency of the controller that's plugged into it. Maybe that's something there. But then, depending on the Stadia the controller that you're using, you're bypassing the Google TV or the Android TV, whatever they're calling it these days. You're bypassing that device anyways, because the official controller connects directly to the internet anyways. So I don't know. I just find it odd.
These are all good questions, and hopefully they will be answered. Well, they're trying to sell it to us, so we want to know what's going on.
I mean, going back through the news. It's funny because I just searched Stadia Android TV, and of course I get a video from Hands on Android about how to make Stadia work on Android TV by our good friend Jason Howell of TWiT. So go to twit.tv/HOA where you can watch that episode.
Way to do it.
The hacky way to do it. But in early August, there's all these articles saying how Android TV is updated, with 4K HDR for Stadia. So I wonder if it's the kind of thing that they're moving the pieces in place for it to officially support.
Yeah. Or maybe when they officially, maybe it's one of those things that when they officially announce this device next week, they say, and by the way,
it works with Stadia.
It works with Stadia now or whatever. I don't know. I just find it kind of odd. I would think that would be a no-brainer place for it to be. And if it's working on like a little Chromebook, like why couldn't it work on an Android TV box? I don't know. Anywho, so that's good for Xbox One owners, though. To be able to stream to your device for free is pretty awesome, and I wonder how that'll tie into the new console.
Is this it? Is this how we're doing it now?
What do you mean? Like taking the big stuff and putting it on the little stuff?
Just like streaming all the big stuff to the little stuff. It's just like
people love the little stuff now. It's they used to love the big stuff. Now they're really into the little stuff.
Now they really want the big stuff on the little stuff. But the problem is, like, and I noticed this in playing, what was it, the one of the latest Tomb Raider games on Stadia on the devices. It's a lot of fun until you have to interact with some of those little stuff on the little stuff. And just like, okay, this is really meant for a big screen, and this is not as easy as it should be. But it's not impossible. It's just depends on how big your little screen is, I suppose. Let's see here. Okay, so we haven't done an app spotlight in a few weeks, and I've been kind of waiting, but like, okay, well, now I feel like it can be a little bit choosier, and this was kind of neat. I like this. The thing is, this app isn't available in the Play Store yet. It's still early beta. I found it on XDA. It's called TapTap. It's a beta app that allows for, and I feel like we have shown off this capability on the show in the past, but there was the rumor a while back that there was going to be an update to, I think, Pixel devices that would allow you to tap on the back of your device a couple of times, and it would launch something. So if you tap twice, let's see here, do I not have it activated? Oh yeah, so it activated Assistant, right? That was with 2 taps. That would possibly, here, I'll do it again so that you can see, tap. Wait for a second. System UI crashes. Hey, it's beta. There you go. Let's try it again. Hey, it worked that time. So apparently this would be coming at some point to Pixel devices, and in the meantime, you can use an app like TapTap. The thing that's interesting about TapTap is that once you have it all set up, and you can adjust the sensitivity. It actually has a setting in here to select which device you have. I don't know how that comes into play, but maybe the developer is kind of working with the different mechanics of each individual device to know how to rate the sensitivity and stuff to be more accurate. But what this app allows is, yes, the double tap, but it also allows for the triple tap. The triple tap. So if you want 2 different things you can do it now. The thing is, when you have triple tap enabled, it adds a delay because it doesn't want to jump the gun, right? When you hit now, so I have triple tap turned off. If I tap, it summons a lot faster now, right? When I have the triple tap enabled, it has to listen just a little bit longer and tap, and it shows me my notifications. I could take it away too. Tap. I'm saying tap so many times. It's kind of fun. But anyways, it's kind of a neat app. It's, like I said, it's not in the Play Store yet. It's totally a beta. But if you want to play around with it and add a new way of launching things, and now you have a little bit more depth into it, then you can use this. And you can set up, a number of different actions if you want to launch an app, or I don't know what's in advanced. Oh, you can tie it into Tasker. That's right. It has Tasker support. A number of different ways that you can, different functions that you can have launched on the device when you do the tapping. And then it also has this gates, which is basically like, these are factors that when they are met, like the display is off, for example, it will not detect the taps. So if my display is off and I tap twice or 3 times on the back, because this is a gate that's activated, it's going to bypass that. And you probably want that. You'll probably also want that on a call. It would suck if you were on the call and you accidentally registered a couple of taps and it hangs up on the person for some reason or something like that. So anyways, I thought it was kind of a neat app, and I love to see how it's developed, how it's designed. It actually kind of looks nice. Everything looks really fluid and nice, and laid out really well. And I like the direction of it. So it's called TapTap. You can do a search for TapTap beta on XDA, and you can find a way to manually install the beta of the app on your device and play around a little bit and see if you can add some tappability to the back of your device to do some things that you want to do. I think it's kind of neat. Check it out.
Cool.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of the other app. I feel like we have at some point featured an app that did this, but I don't think it did the 3 apps.
I agree with you, and I also cannot remember.
Yeah.
But I'm sure someone else will, and will tell us on Twitter or next week. So
usually how it goes.
Yep. That's why we love you and All About Android community. You're the best. So.
Indeed.
Cool. Well, we're going to get to some more community love in a second, but we're going to take a break now and thank our last sponsor of the evening. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by LegalZoom. And listen, as we adjust to this new normal, this new world that we live in, it's important. It's more important now more than ever that you have proven solutions to help you overcome the unique challenges that we're all facing. And listen, if you need legal help for your challenges, LegalZoom has proven to be a reliable resource for families and business owners everywhere during these unprecedented times. LegalZoom has been dedicated to helping you with the right solutions for more than 19 years. Whether you need a will or living trust to protect your family, or if you need help starting a business the right way with a DBA or an LLC or a nonprofit or more, LegalZoom can help you do it. And it's so easy to get started online. And if you need guidance, their network of attorneys can provide legal advice to ensure you're making the right choices. And since LegalZoom isn't a law firm, you won't have to leave your home and you won't get charged by the hour, which is just fantastic. And a few years ago, my sister went through the whole process of doing all the living trust, will, all that stuff, and who gets the house and the kids and all that stuff we never really want to think about. And it was agonizing, and they paid lawyers, and it took her forever. And now that I find myself at that point in the world, I'm going to LegalZoom and making it much easier and make it as smooth as possible and do all the advanced work and protection that I need to protect my family the right way so there are no problems down the road. And that's all because LegalZoom provides that great service and that great help. And if you need that help, if you need that service, you can get on board now. Just visit LegalZoom.com today and take care of some of the important things you need to get done. That's LegalZoom.com. And thanks, LegalZoom, for all the advice and for being awesome and sponsoring this episode of All About Android. LegalZoom.
Thank you, LegalZoom. Keep zooming. All right. It's email time. Actually, it's email and voicemail time. Starting with you, Flo.
Hi, All About Android crew. This is Peter Keefe calling in from Connecticut. I just wanted to point out another unfortunate side effect of the Google Play Music to YouTube Music transition. When you ask to play some videos from YouTube, sometimes it'll actually open up on YouTube Music instead of playing the video from YouTube. Listen to this. Hey, Google, play Sesame Street from YouTube on Living Room TV.
Sure, Sesame Street from YouTube Music, playing on Living Room TV.
Now, obviously, when I want to play this for my kids, I don't want the music to show up. I want to watch the videos. So, anyway, thanks for the show. Bye.
That stinks. I don't know what to say other than that. I mean,
there are so many instances that they are trying to make this system work, and the actual practical application of it between YouTube Music and Google Assistant and all these things happening. The number of times, so like I have 2 Google Home devices and a Shield TV in my house. The number of times that I'm in the kids' bedroom, they're screaming, I want to put on a song to get them to calm down, and I say, hey, G, play, the Unbirthday song from Alice in Wonderland. And then Google goes, do you want to play this on Shield TV? And I'm like, no, I don't. Play it on the device that I'm talking to you on. Like, right. It's trying to anticipate what you're doing, but oh man, it's a mess. It's a mess.
So I couldn't respond because I had to go, and that whole thing actually triggered my smart speaker because I did not mute it. And we were playing Sesame Street on the living room television.
Oh, no. Oh, boy. I'm sorry, Flo.
It's okay. I happen to have the exact same capabilities that was said in that whole command, and it worked. It worked. So, and it did, by the way, go to YouTube Music, not
it did
YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. And
that's
when
so
I went
curious.
into the Home app, it showed me it as media music. You know how sometimes it'll differentiate between what media you're. Yeah.
Boy, that was an interactive voicemail.
It was. We'll try and bleep that out for those of you listening to this recording.
It's easily done. Yeah. Easily done. Not a problem there. All right, Ron, you got the next one.
All right. Next email comes from Charles, who writes in and says, I was wondering if you guys had a suggestion or trick for rejecting calls when in Do Not Disturb mode. There's Flo. In case you think it already is what happens, it is not. I have a Samsung Galaxy S9 and previously had a G5 and an Essential, which all had this issue. Wow, he had an Essential. That's fascinating. I want to know more about that, Charles.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said I would have it in Do Not Disturb mode, and while driving, it would be connected to my car stereo to stream music, audiobooks, or podcasts for my 1-hour commute. If a call came in that was not part of the allow list, the music and audio would stop, and the Bluetooth device would make its ringing sound while the phone's ringer is silent until I either let the call ring through or reach over to my phone to manually reject the call. Meaning, Do Not Disturb mode is not really Do Not Disturb, but more of a selective silence that wouldn't be realized unless listening to audio while in Do Not Disturb mode.
Good description of Do Not Disturb mode.
It's sadly true. Also, as a throwback to the episode on September 15th and the discussion of whether phone companies using the same names as others for their models, I will let you guess whether the G5 was LG or Motorola. I just assumed it was LG. Interesting. I went to LG. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that ties in with what we were talking about last week about do phones ever, use the same model numbers? There you go. LG and Motorola both had a G5.
So what I love about this is that oftentimes Jason, in his infinite amazingness as the producer of the show, and just again, we need to praise Mr. Jason Howell, will often look for the answer and kind of give us some notes and things like that, as he's done here. But I don't think he's realized the unintentional pun that he put into his notes. So Jason says that he looked around. This is a pretty common complaint. Devices seem to let calls through when connected to a Bluetooth speaker, and Google has been silent on this. So would you say that Google's in do not disturb mode?
Yeah, possibly so.
This is a problem for me too. Even when I'm in Android Auto and I'm driving, I will get the spam calls will come through, will interrupt my driving experience. And sometimes if I'm in a bad mood, I'll take the call. But I shouldn't because I'm behind the wheel. Which is exactly why this thing needs to be addressed, because there are a lot of people like me out there that are very emotional right now and shouldn't be yelling at people willy-nilly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's not give people more reason to yell at other people. Cousin of Ja also in chat says, Do Not Disturb does this on every phone I have ever had. So annoying. I know I've experienced this. So this is not an isolated incident. This is obviously a way that Do Not Disturb mode works or doesn't work on devices. And it is annoying. Like if I have Do Not Disturb mode on, and I have only my starred contacts as the only ones to pop through Do Not Disturb, I would expect that to happen whether I'm not on Bluetooth or whether I'm streaming my audio through a Bluetooth speaker. It doesn't make any sense why it wouldn't happen because I'm connected to Bluetooth, but it does. I don't know why. Is it because when you're driving,
something is overriding the D&D, and I have a feeling it's got to be something really tricky that's just deeply embedded in whatever is happening. You know what I mean? Who knows if it's Android Auto, who knows if it's some other program, but something is overriding that D&D, and probably going to have to do a lot of digging. They have to get an intern on that just digs for that problem.
I mean, this has been a problem for a while now too, so it's not
which is why they should just get an intern to fix it. This. College credit for fixing a big problem.
Yes. I mean, you college students, you're not doing anything right now. You're just hanging out at home, right?
They're just at home zooming into classes. They're not even turning on the cameras.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry.
That's what's happening.
I'm sounding like a angry old person now.
Welcome.
I'm leaning into the mom aesthetic now, so I'm gonna wag my finger at you kids.
Thank you, Charles, for writing in. And now, Aaron is our email of the week. Thank you, Aaron. Monterey, California says, I've been a fan of TWiT since the beginning when it was in the cottage, but I am totally new to all about Android. Where have you been, Aaron? We've been here for a long time. It's good to have you finally. Aaron says, as an Apple fan and iPhone user since 2007, I finally grew a little bored of the iPhone specifically and finally gave in to my desire for something new and exciting. I did lots of research, watched a ton of videos first, and ended up ordering the Samsung Z Fold 2. Having watched a few episodes of the show now, I'm really surprised it seems like you guys, and Leo too, is not a fan of this device. I've only had it for 3 days now, but I think this thing is awesome. At the end of the day, I'm a bigger fan of tech than I am of Apple or any specific company, and I'm really impressed with what Samsung has done here. I understand the first iteration was janky and many problems, but every review I watched mentioned the issues being resolved, and I see that in the finished product. The biggest con mentioned in every video I watched was the price. That aside, it's polished and solid, and so far is a joy to use. Maybe one of you guys should give it a chance. Feels like the first one jaded you guys. This phone got me to switch platforms after 13 years. If anything, I had to get used to some weird quirks in Android I'm not used to, but I love this phone so much. I'm going to give this a full go, at least for the next year before it's time to upgrade again. Ha ha. I don't. Do we hate on this device a lot?
I think you haven't touched it, right? You haven't seen one in person yet.
Haven't had one in person. On it.
So you can't hate or like it. You can have a general like I think I'm going to like it or I'm going to be skeptical of it. But until you hold it in your hand, you can't truly say you hate it.
I think we've all kind of agreed that the form factor is really neat and want for it to succeed. We haven't had experience with it yet. That will change. I'm told next week I'm going to have my hands on a Z Fold 2 and that I will be doing a full review of it. So that will happen. We will get a full review, and I will finally have the opportunity to play around with one of the foldable devices that have come out in the last 2 years, and probably one of the most impressive ones from what I understand.
I'm so jealous. How do I get on that list? How do I subscribe to that list, Jason?
You live in the same town as Leo, who's buying it for himself, and said, hey, why don't you play around with it first?
I knew that when I'm like, all right, I'm going to leave San Francisco. I should either go to Petaluma or New York. And I should have gone to Petaluma.
Should have gone to Petaluma, Ron.
Yep.
Yes. One of many reasons you should have come to Petaluma. All the foldables come here if Leo decides to buy it.
It's the foldable center. It's the foldable capital of the United States. It's Petaluma. Everybody knows that. So.
Yeah, totally. I can't tell you how many foldable phones I see out on the streets of Petaluma when I'm not walking around outside.
It's rampant. It's rampant. Well, I gotta
you guys should send us to the Petaluma travel board and see if they can maybe make an advertisement about all the foldable phones that are just romping around in the fields.
That are walking around on their own.
They're sentient now. It's amazing. I will say how much it delights me to get an email of the week, Burke. That is so overwhelmingly positive and someone loving the device they got. Yeah. Like that warms my heart. That's why we do this, is because you got a phone that you love, and that's awesome. You tried something different and you took a chance and it paid off. And
took a chance on a non-Apple device, even.
Yeah.
Not just any.
Yeah, totally.
Not just coming from many old platforms. It's coming from the other platform.
It's amazing. So good job on you, Aaron.
I think it's great. And you're not going to have to wait very long, Aaron. Starting next week, you'll start hearing us talk about the Z Fold 2, or at least me talking about the Z Fold 2 with firsthand, literally, experience. So thank you for writing in, Aaron, from Monterey, California. And everybody who's watching and listening can write in AAA@twit.tv or leave us a voicemail 347-SHOW-AAA, or you can do what Peter Keefe did. He actually sent in the email and then also recorded it in audio and just attached that. And of course, we're going to play the audio because that's way more exciting than hearing one of us read your email. So thank you for doing that. Keep those coming, and maybe you will be the email of the week. That never gets old.
It will never get old. It never gets old.
It really doesn't.
Never gets old to us. Maybe to someone else, but we'll find out. That's it for this week. We've hit the end of another episode of All About Android. It was a whole lot of fun. It always is. Flo, what do you want people to know about what you're up to?
What do you want people to know about what I'm up to? Well, if you go to florenceion.com, or you can go to flowrights.tech, you will see some of my latest work. Just this past week, I did a guest spot on the Parallel podcast on the Relay FM network. You can go to relay.fm/parallel. And we talked all about Android 11 and the new accessibility options that are coming. So go check that out if you're interested. It's a podcast.
Nice. Not bad, Florence Ion. Thank you so much. What about you, Ron?
Yeah, so you can follow me, as always, on Twitter and on Instagram at RonXO. And go check out Scorbit over at scorbit.io, scorbit.io. It's my new company that's got a mobile app that lets you keep track of your pinball scores. And we get a little piece of hardware that goes in pinball machines to connect them to the internet. It's pretty cool. Things are going great in Scorbit land. So definitely check it out, scorbit.io. Thank you.
Scorbit.io. Ooh. Right on, Ron. Thank you. Thank you for staying up late for us tonight.
My pleasure.
A little bit of a late start. My apologies on that. Big thanks to Burke at the studio for coordinating everything behind the scenes at the TriCaster and playing music when we say stupid things and all that stuff. Burke, couldn't do it without you.
Yes.
I didn't even say the thing, but he knew what I was talking about. Also, big thanks to Victor, who is also behind the scenes, editing the show, taking notes, helping us to turn this around so that you can listen to it in your podcast feed. Twit.tv/HOA for Hands on Android is where you can go to find my other Android show on the network. This last week, I did an episode on, what was it on? I'm suddenly blanking. See, it's very easy to go to twit.tv/HOA. I can do it, and I'm there. And, oh, yeah, that's right. Customizing the power menu in Android 11. Turns out you can put anything you want there if you know how to do it. And I show you how to do it. And then this week's episode is going to be all about personal safety, how you can use your phone to protect you in a personal sense and a personal safety sense, not just like protect you online, but protect you in the real world. So that's twit.tv/HOA for that. Help us out with our end of year best of episodes. Turns out I need to get some moments handed in like this week. So I could really use your help if you have. I need to get started on that. Twit.tv/best of. If you have a moment from a particular episode of this or other shows on the network that you think would make a good moment in our best of episode at the end of the year, send us that clip. Any information you happen to have gives us something to look for, and we really appreciate it. Don't forget to wear a mask. Doing so saves lives, and we all appreciate that. And that's it for this week. This show publishes every Tuesday evening at twit.tv/AAA. You can subscribe there for the podcast, or go jump out to YouTube and subscribe there if you like. And I think that's all there is to it. Check us out next week and have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time on All About Android. Bye, everybody.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Ant Pruitt, host at TWiT TV. Got a question for you. Have you gotten tired of how bad your photos are looking every time you post them to Instagram? Better yet, have you gotten yourself a new camera and you can't quite figure out why the images just don't look that good? Well, I have a solution for you. This is my show, Hands On Photography. Each and every Thursday, I sit down and share different tips and tricks that are going to help make you a better photographer and a better post processor. So subscribe today at twit.tv/hop to learn more.